I am Kyle Jackney with Bluewater Yachts. Myself, along with several of my partners, Hylas owners who have gotten involved, have started Bluewater Yachts to continue building what we feel is the quintessential offshore blue water design. We're going to do two videos for you. One is an interior video of the 56 stem to stern, and then we have another one going through some of the details here on deck. So hope you enjoy them. Welcome to the Bluewater 56, the second of our 56s built to date, designed by the renowned designer Herman Frères. We have built this Bluewater 56 as the kind of quintessential blue water offshore design in this size range between the 50 and 60 foot range. The 56 is designed as a 3-cabin boat. We have plans and designs for 2-cabin, for a 4-cabin, but typically 3-cabin is the standard layout. It's most important to understand that all of our designs are built, custom built for each individual's cruising needs, and just as importantly, their interior design ideas. If you want to do a contemporary interior with maple or ash, if you want to do a very traditional teak or cherry, we have quite a bit of experience having done this. My father and I built over a 30-plus year period, over 350 to 370 of all the Hylas yachts built during that period. We've had quite a bit of experience in building and custom building for our clients, and since we have moved our molds over to our new yard, we've been pretty excited about working with the Hansheng yard that also is known for building the Pearl motor yachts, outbound yachts, and passport yachts, which are all wonderful designs. Great. Okay, so as I said, each one of these are custom built. Table is a pretty good example. We have over 10 different table designs. This particular one is set up as a 4-way folding table. When you get it unlocked, this can be opened up and designed to, of course, drop down to make a full double berth. We can also do cabinetry underneath. We do leaved tables. We do 4-way folding tables, 2-way folding tables. We've done bulkhead tables. We can also do larger fold-over tables to sit as many as 10 to 12 people. This typically will sit 6 to 8. We have bench seating here as well that goes around the table, which stores inside the port cabin. So the owners get pretty creative with this part of the design. Next, let me tell you about the tankage. Pretty important. This boat is, as I said, really designed for long-term offshore. We have 600 gallons of tankage just below the sole here. It's all centered right down through the middle of the boat. We have just over 300 gallons of fuel and just under 300 gallons of water. That can actually be varied depending on what the owners want to do and depending on the size of the water maker they'll put in. But for the most part, it's a pretty impressive amount of tankage. The standard tank alone at 8 knots will give you about 1,150 miles of range. If you drop your speed a little bit, you can increase that well over 1,200 miles. So in keeping with a proper offshore design, it's very important that we have proper sea berths here in the salon. The distance from this bulkhead to the forward bulkhead is just under 8 feet. We have a wonderful long sea berth here on the port side. It's nice and deep as well, 27 inches of depth, and nice and deep on the transverse seating. On the starboard side, and we'll go over that in a moment, but the starboard side, the owners have a choice of making the cabinets larger or smaller, and they can lengthen or shorten their sea berth depending on their personal needs or family requirements as well. From this bulkhead to the forward bulkhead, we have just under 8 feet in length. Makes for a great sea berth. The seating is very deep, over 27 inches. We also do 29-inch seating, depending on what the owner's preferences are. What's really nice, and it's important too, is because the tankage is below the sole, we have our air conditioning unit underneath this forward corner. You can see the intakes below, but all of this behind here is all empty seating. All of these cabinets you can see are quite deep, and these are all cabinets dedicated. This particular one is usually used for the nav station, for extra storage in the salon. All of our seating behind is directly accessible as well. Same with below the seating here. Let's take you into the nav station. We've kind of looked at this as more than just a nav station, but also a bit more of an office on board. Particularly this past year, with people wanting to be away and be able to work on board the vessel, we recognize our owners are getting younger. They're still working either part-time or to some extent, and it's important to have a place they can really focus away from just sitting at the salon table. So you can see very large table area. We've cut this away intentionally so you can fit large Admiralty charts, chart kits, very easy to lay out. What's nice as well is we've designed the tabletop so that if you want to get anything out, you don't have to block the chart plotter to get inside here. You can see the amount of storage inside here. We also have 110 outlets on the inside. On this side, the desk continues. We also have over here another computer desk, which will slide out for you as well. And very importantly, behind me, actually some real storage for just paperwork. We've got 2 drawers just for equipment and the rest for the owner. But we also have a filing cabinet in the bottom here for the ship's papers. And find that the owners really appreciate that. We've got a bookshelf, but also we've got wired in here a small cabinet just for often used for printers. We have really thought out the mechanical and the electrical accessibility. So to that end, first of all of our wiring is tinned, double insulated, and very well labeled and marked. So here is a pretty impressive wiring harness. Very well protected. We do both 12 and 24 volt designs. We've set them up for both European and US voltage. And back here we have access to getting behind to the hardware for the cruising electronics. Talking about the sea berths once again, just under 8 feet from the forward end of the galley to this bulkhead. Owners can choose how they would like to lay their cabinets out, whether they want to do a single cabinet, double cabinet, no cabinets at all. Again, this is a little deeper. This is 29 inches deeper. More importantly, this also pulls out just a few more inches to make it an even deeper sea berth, which is great. Also, if you notice how deep the cabinets are, again, indicative of how much storage we have. This one's typically used for the liquor locker. And this aft one's typically used for the galley. Again, storage space is pretty exceptional. One of the things we've taken a lot of pride in over the last 30 years in building some really great boats is the mechanical and electrical aspects, once again, of the vessel. A boat like this, a lot of boats you'll see will have an engine room. I think we make a very good presentation argument against that. We initially had this yacht designed with an engine room and moved away from it entirely. I think what is not ever thought about very much is the fact that you may have an engine room, but the engine's down low, and no matter how you slice it, you're going to have to sit or kneel next to it. So we have set this access up in such a way that we made it really comfortable and very easy to work on the primary parts of these engines. So to that end, if I'm going to do something to check the engine or work on it, our main access is right through the front. I can sit right here very comfortably, tools right here, and very importantly, without a confined area, without confined smell, oil, heat. If, say, you've lost power, you've got no lights, I don't have to worry about being bounced around inside a small engine room, my hand falling into something that may still be moving. So here we are, forward end of the Yanmar LV150, really wonderful, powerful engine. We have 2 alternator systems, 180 amp house alternator, 120 amp engine alternator. What's nice about this access here is I've got full access to all the injectors, I've got full access to all of my belts. And what we've done is we've built a lot of redundancy into the vessel. What's important about this setup is, first of all, well, actually, the first thing I'll show you is the fuel manifold. We have 3 tanks for that 305 gallons of fuel. Each one is individually plumbed, filled, and isolated. So if there's any contamination, we don't have to worry about any inter-tank issues. We have not only a really simple manifold system and return system, but we also have a built-in fuel pump. That fuel pump is there to transfer all of your fuel from any tank to any tank. Most importantly, it's set up as a polishing system, so I can run from any tank through these filters, back to the tank, or use a different tank to return to if I want to. What also is nice, so we've also wired into the boat 2 fully independent freshwater pump systems into the vessel. And we also have a built-in oil change pump. We have a built-in oil change pump for your engine, your genset, your transmission. It's all standard on the vessel. Everything I'm talking about here is standard on this yacht. It's all designed for redundancy and comfort and safety offshore. What's also really nice is if you have to work on this engine alone, and it's mostly couples working and cruising on these boats, we have a full start and stop of this boat right here. I can start and stop the full engine right here, turn it off, working on it on my own. For a 56-foot design, this is a massive galley. There's simply no other galley this size, this much storage in this category under 60 feet, and even actually over 60 feet in the low 60-foot range. This is an 11.5-foot galley. Just as importantly, it's over 3 feet wide on the counter space with a tremendous amount of storage. So what's really nice too, it is really secure offshore. You are locked in on both tacks very comfortably. You've got great handholds all the way around. And it's just a really big, nice galley to work around. One of the real nice features of our designs is this galley island. So what's great about the galley island is that from this spot right here to the seating on the far side of the settee, that's 15 feet from here. And I can communicate comfortably. I can communicate with anybody at the nav station, anybody in the settee and so on. Just not an issue. The galley sink is 31 inches in length. It is 15 inches across, 10 inches deep. This is a sizable sink. Next nice feature is our Vitrifrigo DRW 180 drawers. What's great about these are the latest and greatest from Vitrifrigo. There are 4 drawers. Each one of them are individually set up on their own compressors, so you can have each one set up for either a freezer or refrigeration on its own. They're also on a set of pair of switches, so you can shut off a pair if you're just going to be on a long weekend and you just want to use one set of boxes. They are large. They are set up so that they're actually amazingly efficient. These 4 boxes draw the same amount of power as our ice maker. Forward end, we've got our ice maker. We do the U-line ice maker typically. Very popular unit. Ice is always valuable on board. Nice thing here is we've got a very large set of cabinets with 3 large drawers. You know, it's just smaller details, but not only are they beautifully set up on the sliders, they're actually all dovetailed, which you don't see a lot of. 3 individual drawers here. These cabinets are sizable. Okay, Force 10 stove. Below we have frying pans, just additional galley storage, microwave area. What's nice about this is this cabinet can be built in as deep or as shallow as you want to do it. It's also nice to have, real pantry design. And then, of course, the question is, where do people keep their pots and pans? Real pots and pans, not just a few, but big ones. And that is this set of cabinets right here. So I'll just show you this. This is so deep, I can't even reach the back of it. It goes all the way out to the hull. Huge amount of space for pot and pan storage here, real space. And if we want to build this all the way out, we can do that. Inboard, we have additional pantry cabinetry, or pantry storage. Further pantry, just spice and rack area. Okay, to continue the mechanical accessibility. This is probably the next most important door here for mechanical access. All these doors are on bayonet hinges, so I can only open them all the way up, but I can pop them off as well. All of our insulation is sound down insulation. We use a Vitas flexible coupling, so it's a really efficient, very quiet sounding engine area. Here is your oil change pump. Again, for your oil, for the engine, the genset, the transmission. Right here is your autopilot. Right on the Jeffa drive. This is a direct drive system. I've already opened the door earlier, but this gets you into the generator very easily. The door opens on the other side to pop that off, and the top pops off as well. Access to the shaft, transmission. These doors all open up, but if I'm seated right here, I can work in this engine room very easily without any need to have to be inside an engine room and actually have some better airflow without the heat and without those issues. So the owner's stateroom. This is a sizable cabin to say the least. Again, away from everybody. You're 20 feet away from the rest of the interior, real privacy. This berth can be done as a queen or as a king. Most owners will kind of choose a nice dimension somewhere between the two or go to the king width. We have, what's nice about it is there's a tremendous amount of storage. So first thing, nice full-length stand-up mirror. But we have 3 hanging lockers, starboard side, port side, and then the forward bulkhead. So these, you can see, are sizable. Large hanging locker space. We have a fold-down door here for shoe storage. On the forward bulkhead here, again, same thing. Now this owner opted to do some shelving. It says all hanging lockers, so he did some shelving and a little bit of hanging locker here. And then another additional hanging locker on the starboard side. So 3 really nice, large, sizable hanging locker areas. So in addition to the 3 hanging lockers, we also have a really nice, sizable settee. Even my size at 6'1", I can sit in this, lean back, and be really nice and comfortable. Some owners will decide they want to do cabinetry instead. That's purely an owner's option. We have very sizable hull ports here. We can do them in the traditional stainless framing. We can do more contemporary frames. We have also upper opening, side opening ports, aft opening ports, as well as overhead hatches with ocean air hatches and screens. So you have tremendous amount of cross ventilation in here, regardless of whether you're at a dock or whether you're at anchor or a mooring. So underneath the berth, we have quite a bit of additional storage. We can do this as a lifting berth and just drop in storage, which you see with some designs, or we can do drawers, which are actually more popular just because they're nice and deep, and owners like to have, you know, drawers along with the hanging lockers and shelving. As you can see on the starboard side here, we have a nice set of cabinets, drawers for personal items for the owner, a nice fold-up vanity. So in addition to the hanging locker, this is normally where TV's mounted, or a picture, but more often than not there'll be a TV. You can use it as a chart plotter or pictures and the rest. But even with that up, behind here we have kind of a hidden area that with a TV or picture up you're not going to see, and it's usually used for safe, sometimes a gun locker, really an owner's preference, but this gets you to quite a bit of storage behind here, which you wouldn't know is here with anything over the face. So the owner's stateroom head is pretty impressive. First of all, a lot of custom features, including the custom tile work that we do. This is very nicely done, and the owners have been pretty creative. We've done sea turtles. We did a mermaid for an owner with 2 young daughters. We've done, let's see what else, seahorses. The sea turtle seems to be pretty popular. In addition to a sizable head, we have a very wide shower area. Glassed in, feels very open, and outboard we have our washer dryer. Okay, the forward cabin. This is another great cabin here. First of all, we have a watertight bulkhead forward. We'll talk about that when we talk about the deck separately, but this is all watertight bulkhead and a sizable berth forward. Queen width at the shoulders, and in addition to that, we have some great lockers outboard. We will leave one locker open in the middle just so you can do books, you know, your reading glasses, something to drink. But we also have nice storage starboard side and port. On the starboard, we have hanging locker here. By the way, all of our lockers are cedar line. That's all standard part of the production. And on the port side, Again, every owner will do their cabinetry custom. This owner went a little shallower, but typically we do the full depth hanging locker. Said he just wanted to do shelves and drawers below. Again, the standard would be the full deeper locker, but he wanted to keep it a little more open. And nice feature is that this berth lifts. We have a Newport, Spectra Newport 400 water maker. Great accessibility. We keep them intentionally away from the engine rooms. We don't need the belt dust, we don't need the heat, we don't need the oily vapor interfering with any of these. These are relatively sensitive and we don't want to mess around with any of that. We also have additional storage, and if we do this as a V-berth, we can add all of this open negative space into additional storage as well. Again, all as a lifting berth. And we can also do drawers, which is quite common also for our owners. The third cabin, port side, pulls out to almost a queen width berth. It's a great cruise quarters. It's actually pretty comfortable for a couple as well when it's fully pulled out. What's nice as well is when it is pulled out and all of the cushions are in place, we have doorways forward and aft to make this fully private with their own access to the forward head. We also have got stainless plating on top for a nice workbench area, so you can put on a vise, hammer away if you need to. What's very nice about this cabin as well is that it's got a tremendous amount of storage underneath. All wide open,